Welcome to GeorgeWay mathTV.
So how am I going to do this question right here? Well, I learned that anytime I'm being given a word problem, I want to make sure I understand what is going on right here. So looking at this word problem right here, there's a sale going on these two right here, jelly beans and trail mix. And they talked about the fact that for 3 pounds of jelly beans and 8 pounds of trail mix, the total cost is $31. So they talked about these two, 3 pounds of jelly beans, 8 pounds of trail mix, the total cost is $31. And they talked about those two again right here. This time for 5 pounds of jelly beans and 2 pounds of trail mix, the total cost is $12. And now I'm being asked to find the cost for each pound of jelly beans and each pound of trail mix. So the fact that they talked about these two, they talked about it twice, and each time they gave the total cost. I should be thinking about using the system of linear equations. And this is how it's going to work. We're talking about cost here and pounds, right? And they said 3 pounds of the jelly beans and 8 pounds of trail mix, the total cost is $31. So I can just let X equals the cost for each pound. Because that way, whatever the cost for each pound is, right? Each pound for jelly beans. So that way, whatever the cost for, again, for each pound, I can just multiply by the number of pounds. And that will give me the cost for the jelly beans. And I can let Y also equals the cost for the other one. For each pound for the trail mix. So that one too, whatever the cost is for each, if I multiply by the 8 pounds right here, it will give me the cost for the trail mix. And then if I add the 2 for this part, I should get a $31 right there. And I can also use it for this one too. It's 5 pounds, but how much is each pound? So whatever each pound is, if I multiply by 5, it will give me the cost for the jelly beans. Whatever the cost for each for trail mix, if I multiply that by 2, because that's the total pounds given, I should also get the cost for the trail mix. And if I add the 2 costs, I'll get a total cost of $12. So anytime I have a word problem like that, they talk about 2 things, and they talked about those 2 things twice like that. With each them giving us the total cost, I know that I have to do, again, the system of linear equations. So now this is what I'm going to do. So like I was just talking to myself right now, right? I'm going to do the first one. I'm doing the first one first, right? The first one that they talked about, we got 3 pounds of jelly beans. So if you multiply 3 by X that we use, which represent the cost for each pound, right? And then I add it to 8 pounds, and the cost for each pound is Y. So I can get a cost for the trail mix. I should get a total cost of $31. So that is for the first one that they talked about right here. So that would be my equation number 1. For the second part, now they say 5 pounds. So 5, and the cost for each is X. So 5X. If I add it to 2, the cost for each for that trail mix is Y. I should get $12. And that would just be my equation number 2. And now that I have my 2 equations like that, I'm just solving for X and Y, and that would just be the answer for what I'm being asked to solve for right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And there's a lot of ways that we can do this. But we can try to take out, or what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna take out the y, so I can solve for x. And to take out the y, they have to be the same. So the first one here is 8. So that means I have to make this 8, so I can be able to cancel this. And how do I make this 8? Well, if I multiply that by 4, I should get 8. So I'm going to multiply this by 4. And whatever I do here, I got to do for both. So I'm going to multiply this also by 4, and this also by 4. And if that happens, I'm now going to be having 4 times 5. I got 20x. 2 times 4, I have my 8y. And then 12 times 4 is 48. So let me just call that equation number 3. Or in other words, I don't even have to call it equation number 3. That is actually replacing this side right here. So I don't have this anymore. So this is replacing what I had before. So now that I have this, let me just make it clear. So I'm going to move this to that side. So I have 3x plus 8y equals 31. And my new equation is 20x plus 8y equals 48. And now I have these to be the same. So that is where I have to be looking at, like, I want to get rid of that. And to get rid of that, they're both positive. So I always have to have two different signs so I can get rid of something if they are the same. So now, what if I subtract like that? 8 minus 8, that will be cancelled. But whatever I do here, whatever sign that I decide here, I have to do the same thing for the other two. So I'm subtracting right here, and I'm subtracting right there. So I got 3 minus 20. And 3 minus 20 is negative 17. I knew that. So negative 17x, right? Equals, because this y is gone, 31 minus 48. That is negative 17. And we're solving for x, so we're just going to divide both sides by negative 17, right? This cancels out, so now I have my x by itself equals negative 17 divided by negative 17. That would just be 1. So my x is 1. So I have to get my y. So to get a y, I can just plug this x into any of these equations and solve for the y. So let's say I pick the first equation. So the first equation, I say I want the x to be 1. So I got 3, and my x is 1. And then plus 8y equals 31. And I'm just solving for y. 3 times 1 is 3. And then plus 8y equals 31. And I'm solving for y. So I want to have 8y by itself first. So I got to get rid of whatever is close. So I minus 3 right here. And I minus 3 right there. The 3 is cancelled out. So I have my 8y equals 31 minus 3 is 28. And then I'm solving for y. So I just divide both sides by 8. And y is 28 divided by 8 is 3.5. So I got 3.5 for y. So my x is 1 and my y is 3.5. But what is x and what is y? Well, x is the cost for each pound for jelly beans, right? Find the cost for each pound of jelly beans and each pound of trail mix. So our x, we just got that to be what? $1. So for each pound of jelly beans is $1. And the cost for each pound for trail mix is our y. And what did we get for y? I know I got 3.5. So I got $3.50 for the trail mix. And that's it. Wow, that was not too bad. So I just gotta remember that, I mean, anytime they talk about two things like that, and they just talked about that two things that they mentioned, they talked about it twice. Each time them giving us total cost, I have to use system of linear equations. And that's how I do it.
don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell to be notified for new videos, and share.